Hey, you guys, welcome. Just wanted to pop on here and give you guys a quick download, something that I've noticed with a few clients that I've been working with for a long time and also with myself. So as you come on here, just hit the thumbs up button, tell me where you're tuning in from in the comments section below. La, 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 la. Gonna wait for YouTube to gather me a little audience. Okay, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. So, like I just said, just hit the like button, and if you could tell me where you're tuning in from in the comments, that'll really help. So, I wanted to share a quick message that came to me, a few actually. So if you're not feeling as connected to source, so whatever source is to you, God, Mother Mary, your ancestors that have walked before you. You guys tell me you can hear me, because I like to kind of pace while I do these with my cell phone in my hand. I'm more of a mover while I speak. So let me know that you can hear this. By telling me in the comments section. Hey from Michigan, hello from Louisiana. Go ahead and tell me in the comments if you can hear this. And thank you for hitting the like button. So, okay, great. So if you're not feeling as close to source, whoever source is for you, maybe it's a loved one that crossed over. I know that I feel closest to my grandma LaGolda out of anyone that's crossed over. My father has even crossed over, but I feel like my father still walks this earth, reborn. I feel like I've met him in this lifetime. He has a lot of the same Leo characteristics, the person that I feel represents him in this life, that my father did. So I feel like I connect with my grandma, and occasionally my other grandma that I wasn't as close to, but that I look a lot alike. But mostly my grandmother LaGolda comes through when, all the time, when I need guidance, when I need direction, when I'm sad, when I'm hurting. I feel like my grandma Geneva comes through when someone's trying to screw me over and I need to grab my backbone and stick up for myself. I also feel like my father comes through at those times because they were more, I don't want to say spiteful. They weren't spiteful because spite produces the worst karma. They were more vengeful. Savvy when it came to getting, my grandma LaGolda was pure heart, all God, saying Bible verses. She was like the most loving person I ever met. But getting back to what I was saying, I don't like that I said but, because I don't want to minimize her at all, because she's like the most sacred thing that I've ever known. Getting back to what I was saying, so if you're feeling like you're not as connected to source, what could be happening is that you're getting more into your body, okay? So when we're younger, some of us get in tune with our body very early on, and here's why. So I myself fell into my body connection at a very young age. I had something happen to me when I was very young that made me aware of my body and put a focus on my body and my physique, okay? It was of no choice of mine. It was one thing that happened one time, too young, that just thrust me into having an acknowledgement and an awareness of my body, and then focusing on my body, probably a little too much, right? So workouts, I've worked out at a gym since I was like 15. It was always a thing, was a fitness model. So I've always been in touch with my body, right? So the awareness that I could not create or do what I needed to do and came here to do without being in my body was from a very young age. I knew it wouldn't be possible unless I kept my body together. Your health is your wealth, period. So that's always been there, okay? Some of you are trying to get more into your body, okay? And you've always been spiritual, and you could be losing touch with that connection to spirit, okay? Because you're getting more in touch with your body now. You're not losing touch with spirit. It's always been there. It's just, it's changing the connection a little bit because you're focusing more on things that will make you feel better in order for you to create more. Now, if you're a person that has always been in your body, and in other words, if you're a very spiritual person, you could be feeling a bit shallow right now because you're focusing on things that you perceive as not mattering. Maybe you're working out, maybe you're doing yoga, maybe you're doing, a lot of physical things and you feel kind of a disconnect from source. Don't feel that. It's not that at all. What it is it's your shifting, and spirit wants you to shift into taking better care of your body. So know that, right? So for others of you who have always had the connection with your body, and then you have these massive spiritual awakenings periodically. I know for me, it's happened 3 times in my life. Once right after my dad died, when he literally reappeared in the flesh, reappeared on the basketball court next to my mom's house. And then once when I was about 29 years old and I met my girlfriend Colette Muth and her brother, and they showed up at my apartment with, the Gospel of John on DVD and the story of Esther, and we did a 3-day water fast, and they bought me my pink Bible, and I had a massive awakening during my fast. I ended up fasting for 21 days. I'll never forget that. And I literally glowed from the inside out. That was my second spiritual awakening. My third came in 2017 when I went through a breakup with someone I loved who just didn't love me back. And we had been together a few years. I was very codependent. And I literally, didn't know how I was even going to feed myself. My heart was broken. And that's when I built this business and did very, 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 very well until someone came in and tried to destroy this business. But that's another story. Anyway, out of jealousy and envy. So those of you who are kind of more on that end, right, who have went through these periodic spiritual awakenings because you're always in touch with your body, you may feel like you've lost touch with your body recently. Not that you're losing touch with spirit, but that you're losing touch with your body. Maybe you're not doing your routines like you normally do. Maybe you're eating too much, ice cream or vegan ice cream or whatever. Even though the outside world doesn't see it because, you're healthier than 95% of the population, you feel it. So there's a paradigm shift here where some people who have never truly taken care of themselves, right? Pot smokers their whole entire life, don't shoot the messenger. That affects the brain in a very negative way. It does. I hate to break it to you. But if you smoke weed, depending on what age you start, you get stuck at that mentality, and that's a scientific fact. And people who are like, oh, it makes me more creative. No, it doesn't. It affects your brain. Look it up. It does affect the brain in a negative way. So maybe you've drank, or you're a pot smoker, or you've always eaten like shit, or you've eaten fast food, and now you're going to the gym. Now you're feeling better. Now you're doing things good for yourself. You may feel, okay, that you're losing touch with Source. You're not. You're actually getting closer to God because you're finally making the connection that, oh, shit, wish I would have learned this years ago. In order to connect with God and higher power, I need to take better care of myself, right? And those of you who are on the opposite end of the spectrum, myself, who have always taken stellar care of yourself, almost to a fault, you may even detox a little too much, and maybe you've went through some massive changes over the past 2 years or something, or relocation or whatever, and you're feeling like, God, I'm not taking as good of care of myself. First of all, you're fine, all right? You're fine. You know, to the outside world, you're beautiful. We're all beautiful. But if you're not feeling as well, it's time to disconnect a little bit, not from Source, but from spirituality and in general, and focus more on the wellness, the routine, etc. It doesn't mean you can't get up and meditate in the morning. It doesn't mean you can't chant. It doesn't mean you can't do your affirmations. It doesn't mean any of that. There just has to be a balance, right? So, some of you may be going through that. And that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Others of you are going through something where you're seeing someone that's around you, or maybe this happened recently. Maybe someone was not supposed to even know about someone else, and you saw, or pretending like they didn't care about someone else. I feel like this is a message for a masculine. And you saw a feminine really trying hard to even maybe mimic someone's hand gestures. Maybe you caught them practicing something or watching something of someone else's or something. That's your sign that that person has an issue and you need to address it. You might be dealing with a female that's obsessed with another female. And that's your sign. Hang on one second. No, baby. We can't. Where are you at? Come here. We can't. Not until mommy gets the flashlight. I think there's a wild animal out back and my dog wants out, and that's not going to happen. So those are just a few downloads. If you're feeling disconnected from Source, it could be that you've gotten more into your body recently with workouts and things like that, and you're just not, it's not that you're not vibing as high, it's that you're making the connection that when you're in your body, you're actually closer to Source naturally, because you're sleeping better, you're eating better, you're feeling better, etc. Now, and if you've always been in your body and you've let go of some of your healthy routines, it's time to get back to that. Others of you, the message about the masculine, for the masculine who's actually going to witness someone either watching someone, mimicking someone, dressing like someone, trying to mimic someone's hand gesture, just being really weird, like someone they supposedly, quote, don't watch, don't pay. That's going to be your message that maybe counseling is needed. Someone maybe has lost themselves in someone you used to be with and may be a little bit obsessed with that person, right? So I noticed a few years ago that someone had been watching my stories from a fake account, a female, and everything I would do in my stories, she would try to mimic later. People would email me and be like, oh my God, did you see this? Didn't you share this? Not publicly, but in your stories, didn't you share your little bikini ass up photo? And now it was weird. And I realized that that person had formed some type of, or was attempting to form some type of entity attachment had an obsession with me. So you have to be mindful. People can form, especially if you've got an online following, etc. They can form these attachment style, obsessive, hatred, weird entity attachments to you. And you have to know how to call that out, either to the person or publicly, cut it, and send them on their way. I feel like in this case, for the masculine, it's someone you used to be involved with, and maybe your partner now has formed some type of obsessive, weird, odd, kind of stalking from the DL, or maybe, the two of you watch this person together, and but yeah, it's definitely unhealthy. It could ward, counseling or some type of psychological addressing of this. For others of you, if there's some financial things going on, I feel like we've got a masculine really nervous that, he's spending so much money. Ask yourself, are you spending it on yourself? Or is it being spent on what someone else wants and it's putting you in the hole repeatedly? Are you still renting or do you own? And if you're renting, would you be renting if you're single? Or, if you're a female and you've got a partner that is a gambler or an alcoholic or, blows their money all the time. Ask yourself, what are you doing? Are you do you guys own a business together, and is he spending all the money? You have to address these things like head on. So that's vitally important. Others of you, Nine of Pentacles energy, and this was from just a random reading I did right before I logged on here. I kept getting the Nine of Pentacles. In this particular deck, it's a female in a garden with pentacles stacked all around her, and her garden is super lush. You have someone interested in you that's already with someone else, and I don't think this is someone you know. I think this is someone new. It could have been someone maybe you hired or that you've worked around recently, and they are very, very interested in you, and they've definitely made it evident. But I would ward caution getting involved with anyone that's already involved with someone else, because whenever we try to interfere in someone's, relationship, that breeds really bad karma. For some of you, there's a masculine listening to this that is notorious for wanting women when they're with someone else. He could have his eye on everyone he's ever dated, and as soon as they get in a relationship with someone else, he's devastated, angry, could even be married and takes it out on his wife or whatever. He gets pissed because he doesn't want someone to be with anyone else. Whoever this is, they're going through massive karma right now. They're seeing the error of their ways. They're seeing that they projected negativity on someone that it was over a long time ago. They're seeing how bad they hurt that person and the people around them, but they're not wanting to take responsibility. They're not wanting to own up. In fact, I feel like there could be a really big truth teller in the situation that's being punished because they're telling the truth. So, good luck with that. What else? Others of you could need to drink more water. If you're thirsty after you eat a meal, that's not a healthy meal for you. That's a dehydrating meal. You should never be thirsty right after you eat a meal. You should feel satisfied, relaxed, ready to go to bed. I have this machine that tests your blood after you eat. So, I'll test my blood 40 minutes before I have a meal, and say I eat, 10 bananas. I'll test my blood 40 minutes after. My blood's not sticking together. It's not coagulating. It's separate. There's no microbes or negative anything in my blood. And then I'll have like a bunch of fat at a meal, and I'll test my blood, and it's clumping together, and it just doesn't, it's not flowing as well. Sometimes my white blood cells are triggered to, almost like there's an infection or something like that. That can happen when you eat something that's not for your highest good. And I use this often. I use it at least 4 times a week when I want to really see what is going on in my body. I should have been a frickin' scientist. I'm so into this. I ordered a frickin' $3,000 biohacking device today, and my house is full of biohacking equipment. And I'm like, what are you doing, Andrea? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? But I'm into it. I always have been. The retreat I'm running on October 19th through the 23rd, I'm going to drive out all my equipment, my resonant light rife machine, my rebounders, my chi machine, I can't drive the sauna there, but my ionic foot bath, my blood testing machine. Like, I'm such a dork, but these things matter to me. They always have. I've always been into wellness and health. And those of you who don't know, I have another YouTube channel, Andrea Cox TV. You can go subscribe there. I think I just uploaded last week a Trader Joe's video. I think it's picking up some speed. But what I'm trying to say to all of you is, don't feel let me just do a recap. Don't feel disconnected from source if you're focusing more on your body. You're not shallow. You're not disconnecting from God just because you missed your meditating, your meditation. Some of you could be traveling. I picked up on that as well. You're still connected to source. You're just getting back into your body because it's a vessel that's going to carry you for the rest of your life, and you need to take care of it. For those of you, and I'm going to admit it like myself, who feel like they've been out of body a little bit, haven't been doing their routine like they should, maybe eating a little more or what have you, even though you're not gaining weight, nothing's showing, you probably look better than ever according to the outside world, you're being called to step up in the routine area, to really clean up the diet, right? Back a few years ago, things that we did when we moved into the age of Aquarius from the age of Pisces were not tolerated anymore. We're not tolerated anymore. The age of Pisces was all about, it's like Hierophant energy. It's like conformity, religion. I'm a Pisces. I can explain Pisces like anyone, but that's not the Pisces way. But them being the elders of the zodiac, full of spiritual wisdom and knowledge, that's how the world was ran. It was all about the hierarchy and the religion and, oh my God, how dare you show your ass on Instagram. I remember posting a bikini photo on Facebook and it got taken down in like 4 seconds. It was too much, and so that age of Pisces, as we moved into the age of Aquarius, it's more about free thinking, freedom, and free-flowing energy. So in order to have free-flowing energy, we have to flow in the body, and we have to flow with change. So what happened about 4 years ago when we moved into the era of Aquarius, addictions, people who smoked a lot of weed, people who drank alcohol a lot, people who took speed, people who snorted coke, people who were having sex with everyone, it couldn't happen anymore. And it couldn't happen because we were leaving that age of the hidden, right? Pisces is the moon, they're ruled by so the moon hides things, right? And we moved into the new era. And so things that we wouldn't do out in public, right? You wouldn't smoke a joint out in public. You wouldn't get shit-faced drunk out in public. You wouldn't sleep with your neighbor out in public. You wouldn't stalk your ex-girlfriend knowing you were married in public. Those things became exposed. And so what happened is they became exposed. Our physical bodies couldn't handle addictions and things anymore. They just couldn't. You just couldn't handle it. And that was a blessing, right? It was a blessing. So, yeah. So now, if you're still partaking in that bullshit, if you're still doing the fast food, if you're still smoking, right? I have someone I love dearly that smokes, and I've been trying to get her to stop. If you're still doing it, you're going to, if you're still in a karmic relationship, if you're still being used for your money, if you're still stalking your ex-girlfriend that dumped you 10 years ago, if you're still drinking, getting shit-faced drunk, if you're still, hitting up a stranger on Facebook every time she posts a good-looking photo and telling her how hot she is. How immature is that, right? If you're still doing that kind of thing, if you're still using a fake account to stalk your husband's ex-girlfriend so you can see what she's doing to try to, emulate it because you know that he pays more attention to her than you. If you're still doing all that stuff, it'll become so unhealthy in this age of Aquarius that you won't be able to tolerate your own self. That's why these things are being exposed. And it's sad because the people that are exposing them are being punished. It's like all the Joan d'Arcs and Mother Teresa's are coming out of the closet and being like, look at this. It's why all the pedophile shit came out and all of that. All of that was exposed as we moved out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. Did you notice that? As we moved out of the age of Pisces, the Catholic priest stuff, the pedophiles, what was the one guy's name that's a big pedophile that went to prison, and all this stuff started becoming, it came to the forefront, and there's a reason for this. We moved into a different era. We moved into a different era. We moved into the age of Aquarius. So it's a natural progression to expose all of this shit that was going on that needed to be exposed. I mean, my mouth, the filter came off my mouth so much, I was shocked my damn self. I was like, okay, that's going to end. That's going to end. That's going to end. Hang on one second. Hello? Yeah, Sandy took care of it. No, the fonts changed back. Bye. So, where was I? So yeah, so we had to change as we changed this paradigm, right? And it was scary for a lot of us. It was very scary. I saw a codependent relationship I was in, and the abuse we were both doing to each other was equal, I saw that for what it was. I was like, okay, let me see this from an above perspective. Okay, he's covering everything, but then tearing me down verbally. Okay, this has to end. This has to end. I'm going to do whatever I can to make this end. And I did. I started a business, and within a month, I was making 25 grand a month. And then when that was tore down from jealousy and envy and people sticking their frickin' nose where it didn't belong, and I knew they were sticking their nose where it didn't belong. So you know when you're like being tested, so you test the people that are trying to test you purposely. Hang on. You didn't look at the cherimoyas all day, and now you want the cherimoyas. You know, just things had to be exposed. I had to expose it. I wasn't going to keep my mouth shut when people were attacking my business. I had to expose it. I had to expose the bullshit I just went through in Las Vegas with the landlords that stole and wouldn't give me my privacy and stole my money. I have to expose bullshit. I don't keep my mouth shut. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's me living in my North Node. It's me speaking my truth. And the only people that are going to be angry about me speaking the truth are people who know it's the fucking truth, right? So, you know, for some of you, you may be also listening to someone and thinking, God, that person keeps talking about the past, no. You know, when I went to school in Dayton, Ohio, we learned about the Holocaust. And when I say we learned, we had to watch all the videos from Auschwitz and all the concentration camps. Oh, I had one of the best school systems there was. There was like a planetarium in our school. We learned about the stars and astrology. I mean, we were probably the only middle school that had a huge planetarium, like huge. It was like other schools toured our school. And one whole semester, I was in the 7th grade, I'll never forget this, we had to learn about the Holocaust. You bring up history so it doesn't repeat itself. You learn about history so it doesn't fucking repeat itself. I'm going to say that again. History is taught so it doesn't repeat itself, right? I loved history class. It was my favorite class. You know, we learned about how Christopher Columbus was actually an asshole. He was. Go find out the truth about him. So if I sound like a broken record bringing up the past, it's because I'm going to make fucking sure it doesn't repeat itself. I'm going to make sure my ex doesn't try to infiltrate my business. I'm going to make sure people don't try to fuck with my money and my clients. I'm going to make sure, you know, a female stalker I've had for 9 years gets off my fucking stories. I'm going to make sure of it. I'm going to make sure I get my money back from the landlords in Vegas. I'm going to repeat. I'm going to make sure they don't steal from anyone else in the future that pays their mortgage for 2 years. I repeat things to make it end. Nothing wrong with that. Amen is right. Amen is right. And that's how we get the ball moving in the right direction. And man, do people, I mean, I have a lot of people that love me a lot, but I got that small handful that loves to hate me. And they love to hate me because I tell the fucking truth. Every time. And they know it. They know it. So, yeah, you know, no one has a Virgo, Aquarius, Aries, or Leo, or a Scorpio infiltrating their life. Because I spoke the truth. Because I move when cycles end. I move physically, I move emotionally, I move mentally, I move energetically. I close out cycles that are meant to be closed, and I don't look back, never have, and that is my gift. But people who are unhealed always come back. They always look back, they always come back. The only time you're supposed to go back is if it's a true fucking soul connection. And what is a true soul connection? Many of you have had it before. It's the connection that you can't get out of your head. That one person that the first time you ever met them, you knew. You were like, okay, this is different. This doesn't feel like anyone else I've ever met. Can soul connections become karmic? Absolutely. They can become karmic if communication isn't there. They can become karmic if people try to infiltrate other people's life, livelihood, business. They can become karmic if truths aren't told, apologies aren't made. Of course, they can become karmic. But I think at the end of the day, what we all need to focus on right now is our connection with Source. And for some of you who have always been in your body, like I have, my dog is being such a little shit right now. For some of you who have always been in your body, like I have, it's actually getting more into your body. Like some of you could want to compete, like in a fitness challenge, or you could want to rock out at age 55 or 60 as a, with your physique. I follow some woman on Instagram that's like 75 and she like works out with her daughter every day at this gym and she looks amazing. Like some of you, I'm really motivated by that. My mom motivates me. I called my mom last week and she was like, it was like 8 o'clock in the morning. She's like, I already walked and went to the gym. I'm like, and my mom's in her 70s. And she motivated me. I had had a few days where I had just kind of laid around and I got up and did my elliptical and then laid around some more, and she motivated me. My mom motivates me. My sisters motivate me in different ways. I have a few friends that motivate me. I like to keep my circle small. So on that note, I think you guys should listen to this from the beginning. There could be some messages in there. So I delete these after 24 hours and I upload them in the membership section. And there are 3 days worth of blackout readings over the last 2 weeks in the membership section. So if you haven't joined, go to the homepage. After you've subscribed, you can join. And yeah, I highly recommend it. I love you guys. Have a good night. Bye.